Hello, loves. Welcome to the Live Your Freedom Now podcast. I'm Megan Colleen Johnson, and this podcast is dedicated to discussing dominant cultural narratives and beliefs, what I call dominant dogma, how this keeps you from thriving in life and business, and how to overcome that dogma by living your freedom now. While this path sounds clean and straightforward, the truth is life and being human is messy. So around here, we value the both and. We'll hold space for where you're at and honor the freedom you'd like to see and feel within yourself. Hit subscribe to stay updated, and for more information about me, my work, and to download my free Freedom Manifesto with all the details on what dominant dogma is, head to megscolleen.com. If you're curious to have the dominant dogma in your life talked about on the podcast, shoot me a text at 312-815-2774 and fill me in. Episode 14. You must use social media to market your business. Hello, beautiful humans. Today I am writing to you from my living room. My gray couch is holding me, the electric fireplace is on, and I have a candle lit on the coffee table. It's rather dark today with rain and clouds, but I'm fully embracing the cozy spring weather. As we enter into this space, this conversation together, I invite you to take a moment and attune to your surroundings. No matter what's going on around you or within you, simply pause. Notice what is around you that is stable, the chair or the floor beneath you, the textures touching your skin, where there is light, where there are shadows. Not judging anything or making meaning of anything, just noticing, being still in this present moment. Today, our focus is discussing the dominant dogma, you must use social media to market your business. A narrative which is pervasive across small business to the point where many young entrepreneurs feel shame if they don't post enough, don't have enough followers, or their growth is seeming slow in comparison to their competitors who they see online. We've covered some sub-narratives that correlate to this in other episodes, such as episode 7, They Have It Better Than Me. However, today we are going to focus in a bit more, evaluating the dark side of social media and the freedom on the other side. Before we go further, I think it's important to point out distinctions between social media and other spaces where one can share content online. That said, Merriam-Webster defines social media as forms of electronic communication such as websites for social networking and microblogging through which users create online communities to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other content such as videos. This in mind, a number of popular social media platforms include Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, WhatsApp, Telegram, Snapchat, YouTube, which is a social media platform and a search engine, and Pinterest, a search engine with some social elements. Online spaces such as your business website, blog, or podcast have social components, but they're likely not social media platforms in of themselves. Diving straight into the dark side of social media, Jaron Lanier, in his book 10 Reasons to Delete Your Social Media Accounts Right Now, defines social media platforms using the acronym BUMMER, which stands for Behaviors of Users Modified and Made into an Empire for Rent. A mouthful to be sure, but essentially what he gets at in his book is that due to social media being free, in order to grow their empire, these companies have made you their product, selling your attention and clicks to their advertising clients. Social media, or BUMMER platforms, have a goal of modifying your behavior and essentially hypnotizing you into staying on their platforms, experiencing FOMO, then purchasing their clients' products so in turn they make money. While doing my research on this topic, I ironically posted a poll on my Instagram asking how social media causes folks to feel. One response in particular seemed to sum it up well. Quote, "Social media takes up way too much time. It feels like it's zapping me of viable energy and life force." End quote. Additionally, my poll results share a few folks feeling the love for social media marketing, but the majority felt that social media marketing is not for them and they want out, but don't know how. Now, the dominant dogma that states one must use social media in order to succeed actually uses a similar tactic as the social media creators themselves, modifying your behavior by making you feel like you're missing out, saying you quote unquote must use social media as part of your business strategy. Otherwise, well, are you really a business at all? This message is typically preached from folks who are selling something to help you improve your social media game. And that leads us to the freedom on the other side of this dominant dogma, the freedom of choice. The fact is, you don't need social media if you don't want it. And if you do want social media, that's okay too. It's truly your choice. Business and commerce has been around for hundreds of years. Social media is actually the new kid on the block that has happened to cultivate a cult-like following. At the end of the day, to quote Jaron Lanier again, he says, "The problem isn't any particular technology, but the use of technology to manipulate people, to concentrate power in a way that is so nuts and creepy that it becomes a threat to the survival of civilization." More simply put, as my coach Haley Carr says, the tools don't have morals, we do. How do you engage with social media in a way that enhances your choice? I believe the key behind engaging on social media and marketing yourself using social media begins by reintroducing network into the title. No longer looking at platforms as a place to produce media, but instead develop a social network, connecting with others, commenting, having conversations, and offering meaningful insight. With the introduction of like buttons and emoji responses, social networks largely shifted to social media platforms. This shift was intentional by the platform creators as it supports an increase in addiction, that dopamine hit of a like notification that we're all too familiar with. However, the option, the choice to engage as a social network is still available. A couple of prompts to support this type of engagement. What accounts are my people following? How can I engage with those accounts in a meaningful way? Perhaps leaving comments that share my perspective, or responding to someone else's comment, sharing my support. Are my posts encouraging engagement or consumption? How can I develop deeper relationships with the people who do follow me, whether that's 5 people or 5,000 people? This is where polls and calls to action come into play. I could share a great deal more on how to engage and market on social media from a place of choice. However, I also want to speak to where you can market yourself off of social media. If you want to explore more around social media marketing, I encourage you to listen to episode number 9 of the podcast, or download my free integral sales and marketing masterclass at megscolleen.com. In both of those places, I share key cornerstones that you can keep in mind as you utilize social media to market your services and products. For the rest of today's episode, I'm going to share creative and somewhat old school ways to hop off social media for your marketing strategy. 5 places you can build connection and market your business instead of social media. When chatting with my one-on-one clients and folks in my Creative Business Accelerator, they often come up blank while thinking of places off of social media where they can market themselves. The dominant dogma that social media is the place to market your business runs pretty deep, so many folks sit staring into space as they think of what else they could possibly do. Their neural pathways are utterly confused at this new line of questioning. But the fact is, your people are everywhere. 1. Your local library. Perhaps you can host a workshop sharing your unique ways to use your products or share the knowledge you have to offer. This not only puts you in front of potential customers, it can also benefit your local community. 2. Chamber of Commerce. Often hosting regular meetings, joining a Chamber of Commerce not only gets you in front of local people, but it may connect you to great collaborative opportunities where you can bounce off of someone else's audience. Remember, keep community and connection as your first priority in networking spaces such as this. Allow marketing to be a natural byproduct, offering your work to the community when and where it will be most beneficial. 3. Charities and social causes. While it seems counterintuitive, instead of waiting until you have more money before you give back, try swapping your social media ad budget for a couple of social causes you desire to support and donate to. Charities often have insider communities and invite their donors to galas, conferences, and ribbon cuttings where you can connect with other like-hearted humans with values similar to yours. Again, keep community and connection as your first priority. Allow marketing to be a natural byproduct, sharing about your work when and where it will be most beneficial. A few examples of causes you may desire to get involved with: a local wilderness conservation, your library, 1% for the planet, local art collectives, the Creative Coalition. 4. Co-working spaces. A hub for creative entrepreneurs, co-working spaces are a wonderful way to get connected with your local business community. While they are a great way to get out and get work done, they often host events and social gatherings where you can develop relationships, establish collaborative partnerships, and market your business when and where it feels appropriate. Additionally, co-working spaces sometimes host workshops where you can teach on your topic of choice or attend and meet people interested in topics related to your business. 5. Slack groups/Facebook groups/Mighty Networks groups. While these are technically social media platforms, there are also online spaces where you can engage in social networking, meeting folks in a more collaborative way versus traditional media consumption. As someone navigating health difficulties, I find these to be an accessible way to connect even amidst more difficult fatigue days. The key is offer up helpful comments, connect people who might be able to help one another, and post meaningful insights. Do not spam and only pop in when you have something to gain. Treat these groups just as you would a healthy and reciprocal in-person relationship. A few examples of groups you can get involved in: hobbyist groups, program alumni groups if you've gone through a course or certification program. More specific for creatives, you could join Mount Freelance or climate designers. The key here, don't only join groups that have people in your industry. Join groups in adjunct spaces. For example, if you are a coach, don't just join coaching communities. If you are an artist, don't just join artist communities. Utilize your knowledge of your target audience to join groups that hold values and interests similar to your target audience. And that is what I want to leave you with today. Remember, the freedom here is choice. You get to choose where you market your business, what feels good, what feels aligned, and what does not. What is accessible for you, what is not. There are so many spaces where you can market your work, meet your people, and meet people who want to share you with their people. It's just a matter of expanding past what you've been told to step into possibility. Also, don't forget that I would love to hear from you. Let me know how today's episode lands with you by shooting me a text at 2-2-2-7-7-4. All right, I'll see you next week. Freedom is yours. Thank you for joining me for another Live Your Freedom Now podcast episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm always so grateful for a 5-star rating, and you can learn more about me, my currently enrolling Creative Business Accelerator, and download my free Integral Sales and Marketing Masterclass at megscolleen.com. Curious to have the dominant dogma in your life talked about on the podcast? Shoot me a text at 312-815-2774 and fill me in. I'll see you next time, and as always, freedom is yours.